TechDaily.AI, your source for technical information. This podcast is sponsored by Stonefly, your trusted solution provider and advisor in enterprise storage, backup, disaster recovery, hyper-converged in VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox cluster, AI servers, SA365, a turnkey security appliance, and public and private cloud. Check out stonefly.com or email your project requirements to sales@stonefly.com. Okay, let's unpack this. This whole idea of, data resilience, your business bouncing back after, well, anything really.
Right.
We all think about backup, sure. But is that really enough? Is that the whole picture for keeping things safe?
That's the core question, isn't it? And it turns out there's quite a bit more to it.
A lot.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating because, look, most leaders get it. They know data protection is critical. But there's often this surprising gap between knowing that and actually being prepared.
A gap? How big are we talking?
Well, consider this. A recent study found that nearly 74% of organizations surveyed weren't truly ready to handle a major data outage effectively.
74%? Wow, that's
huge.
It is. So what's going on there? Why are so many potentially, walking a tightrope?
A big part seems to be, well, overconfidence. The research pointed to over 30% believing they were more resilient than they actually were in practice.
Huh. So they think they're ready, but maybe haven't been truly tested.
Exactly. It's like thinking you're a great sailor because you've only ever been out on calm seas. It leaves a lot of businesses quite vulnerable.
Okay, that makes sense. So if just having backups isn't the full answer, how does an organization listening get a real grip on their actual readiness, their navigation skills in that storm, like you said?
Yeah, good analogy. And that's precisely where a structured approach comes in. Something like the Data Resilience Maturity Model, the DRMM, let's call it.
DRMM.
Okay. Think of it as a framework. It helps you assess where you are now with data resilience, but crucially, it also helps chart a course for getting better, for actual improvement.
So it's not just a score, it's a roadmap.
Exactly. It pushes beyond just, reacting to problems and helps build that proactive foundation for business continuity, optimizing resources, the whole package.
Building a stronger ship, not just patching leaks.
That's a great way to put it. And today, we're going to dig into this DRMM, explore its different parts, and really look at how you, listening right now, can use these ideas to see where your own organization stands and where you can grow.
Sounds good. This DRMM, it feels pretty robust. Where did it actually come from?
Yeah, it's got a solid background. It came out of a major collaboration, actually. Insights from McKinsey & Company were key, and it drew on expertise from folks like Dr. George Westerman at MIT.
MIT, okay. Impressive.
And practical input, too, from companies like Palo Alto Networks, Splunk, and importantly, feedback from over 500 C-level executives sharing their real-world headaches and experiences.
So it's grounded in both theory and, frontline reality.
That's the idea. Yeah. Rigorous, but also vendor-agnostic and practical.
Okay, so what are the core pieces, the main things this DRMM looks at?
It breaks down resilience into three main dimensions. The first one is strategy.
Strategy, right?
This really gets into how well your business goals line up with your resilience planning. Are you thinking ahead about threats? Do you have solid governance? Are you keeping up with compliance?
So it's about making resilience part of the actual business plan, not just some IT checklist item.
Precisely.
So for you listening, the question is, does your data strategy genuinely mesh with your overall business objectives? Or is it sort of off in its own silo?
That's the critical question to ask. Then the second dimension is people and process.
Ah, the human element.
Exactly. Because look, you can have the best tech in the world, but if your teams aren't empowered or your processes aren't clear, it falls apart.
Makes sense.
This covers having the right skills, getting leadership aligned, and having really clear cross-functional protocols so everyone knows what to do when things go sideways, enables that quick, confident recovery.
Yeah, you need that smooth coordination. So, again, for you listening, are your teams actually prepped? Are they aligned? Can they work together effectively when disruption hits? It's more than just a binder on a shelf, right?
Absolutely. It's about operational readiness.
Yeah.
And the third core dimension, naturally, is technology.
The nuts and bolts.
Kind of the backbone, yeah.
Yeah.
And this breaks down further into 6 key areas. First up, maybe the most obvious one, backup.
Right. Secure data protection.
Across all your environments, too. On-prem, cloud, wherever your data lives. Secure and comprehensive.
Foundational, definitely. What else under technology?
Next is recovery. How quickly, how agilely can you restore critical systems? And can you do it at scale?
Speed and scale.
Then there's architecture and portability. Can your systems flex? Can they scale across different environments, hybrid setups, that kind of adaptability?
So your infrastructure needs to be like flexible enough to handle changes.
Exactly. Fourth is security. Hugely important. Preventing threats, yes, but also having solid plans for remediating them when they do get through.
Because something probably will get through eventually, right?
It's a realistic assumption these days,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Fifth under technology is reporting and intelligence.
Seeing what's going on.
Yeah, real-time visibility. Getting insights into your resilience posture. This helps with compliance, obviously, but also finding ways to improve recovery and just run things better overall.
Using data about your resilience to make your resilience better.
You got it. And the final piece, number 6, kind of wraps it all together. It's about constantly looking across all these areas: backup, recovery, architecture, security, reporting, and asking, how truly robust is our tech foundation?
Okay, so strategy, people and process, and then this multifaceted technology dimension. How does the DRMM use these to sort of score or categorize an organization?
It lays out 4 distinct levels or horizons of maturity. The starting point is the basic horizon.
Basic.
Only about 8% of organizations fall here, interestingly. They have some fundamentals, maybe, but there's significant room for improvement across the board.
Got the bare minimum maybe, but not much more.
Pretty much. Then you move up to the intermediate horizon. This is where a big chunk, about 44% of organizations sit.
Nearly half.
Yeah. They're doing more than the minimum, but often processes are quite manual, and they might not really be aware of how much better things could be.
So managing day-to-day perhaps, it may be exposed if a really big disruption hits.
That's a fair assessment. And think about it, if you add basic and intermediate together.
8 plus 44,
Yeah.
that's 52%. Oh wait, the earlier stat was 74% not truly ready. Where's the rest?
Good catch. The 74% figure referred to those not ready to effectively handle outages, which aligns closely with these first 2 tiers lacking robust proactive measures. So yeah, a vast majority are in these foundational or intermediate stages. It really underlines that overconfidence issue we talked about.
Okay, yeah, that 74% makes more sense now in context. So what about the organizations doing better, the ones further along?
Right. Above intermediate, you have the advanced horizon. About 30% of organizations are here. These are the companies making that shift from being reactive to proactive. They're making deliberate investments in their people, their processes, really focusing on improving outcomes.
So they're actively building stronger defenses, anticipating problems.
Exactly. And then at the top, you have the best-in-class horizon. This is roughly 18%.
The leaders.
The leaders, yeah. They've achieved an optimal state, really integrated skilled people, efficient processes, advanced tech. They demonstrate exceptional resilience, maybe for critical functions, maybe enterprise-wide.
That sounds like the place everyone wants to be. What are the real tangible payoffs for moving up these levels? Why strive for best in class?
Well, the benefits are significant. It hits several key business areas. First off, revenue protection.
Protecting the bottom line.
Absolutely. Ensuring your products and services are consistently available, that boosts your commercial viability, your competitive edge, massively.
Got an example.
Sure. Think about a major global bank. They really doubled down on resilience. Result: over 3 years, 0 cybersecurity outages. 0. And they calculated savings of $300,000 per avoided outage because they slashed their recovery time for critical systems. Plus, they hit 99.99% uptime for core apps.
Okay, 0 outages, huge savings, rock solid uptime. That's compelling evidence right there. What else?
Another big one is cost optimization. Better resilience means less inefficiency, lower IT operating costs, and avoiding those huge bills that come with incidents.
Right.
It just flows from smoother operations, better infrastructure use, smarter risk management.
So it's not just avoiding disaster costs, it actually makes the business run leaner day to day,
Precisely. Then there's compliance and risk management.
keeping the regulators happy and the lawyers away.
Basically, yes, minimizing incidents, minimizing data loss, that directly reduces your legal, regulatory, and just general business risk profile. Huge peace of mind there.
I bet. And the last one,
Finally, and this is crucial, brand integrity and consumer trust.
reputation matters.
Immensely. Being known as reliable, as secure, that builds customer confidence. It reinforces your position in the market. So you see, investing here isn't just defensive. It actively builds value, protects revenue, and strengthens customer loyalty.
Okay, those are really strong arguments. So if an organization is listening and thinking, right, we need to level up,
Where do they actually start? What's step one?
It might sound a bit counterintuitive, but often the best place to start is in the conference room, not the server room.
Really? Why is that?
Because real improvement often gets sparked by bringing more people into the conversation. Go beyond just IT. Bring in your chief risk officer, your chief data officer, maybe heads of key business unit.
Get broader buy-in and perspective from the start, because it's not just an IT
It's
thing.
absolutely a business thing. So getting those diverse viewpoints early is key for understanding the whole picture.
Okay, get the right people talking. What next?
Then the focus has to be on alignment, really getting strategy, people, process, and technology pulling in the same direction.
Breaking down those silos we mentioned.
Exactly. Different teams can have different priorities, sometimes even conflicting ones. Running specific working sessions focused on the DRMM can be super helpful here. It forces everyone to look at the current reality together and agree on common goals.
Get everyone reading from the same playbook. Makes sense. Any other key actions?
The big one is consciously focusing on proactive measures. Don't just wait for things to break.
Moving beyond just backup and recovery.
Right. Implementing things like proactive threat hunting,
Yeah.
better security protocols, running realistic, comprehensive tests, trying to prevent the fire, not just putting it out.
Shifting from reactive to proactive. Got it.
And there's a useful way to frame the progression. Think foundation, evolution, revolution.
Okay.
Foundation is getting the basic solid, clear strategy, basic incident management, standardizing backup recovery. Evolution is enhancing things, deeper business impact analysis, cross-functional training, maybe automating data governance.
Building on the basics.
Right. And revolution is reaching that top tier. Maybe appointing a chief resilience officer, developing a truly end-to-end recovery strategy for all critical functions, using real-time monitoring, predictive analytics.
Aiming for that best-in-class level.
That's the path. It gives organizations a clear roadmap wherever they're starting from.
That's really helpful. It shows it's a journey, not a switch you flip.
Exactly. It's continuous improvement.
Okay, so let's sort of wrap this up. The big takeaway seems to be a lot of organizations probably think they're more resilient than they are.
That's the key finding, yeah. And that gap creates real risk.
And the Data Resilience Maturity Model, the DRMM, gives a structured way to, well, face that reality.
Precisely. To assess objectively, understand thoroughly, and then make concrete improvements across the board: strategy, people, process, tech. Preparing for disruption, withstanding it, recovering fast.
It's about building a fundamentally stronger business, not just having an insurance policy. So, for everyone listening, maybe the final thought is this. Take an honest look. Where does your organization really sit on that resilience spectrum? And maybe more importantly, what's the very next step, even a small one, you can take to start moving towards greater strength, greater security for your critical data?
That's the essential question, isn't it? A vital one for every business today.
TechDaily.AI, your source for technical information. This podcast is sponsored by Stonefly, your trusted solution provider and advisor in enterprise storage, backup, disaster recovery, hyper-converged in VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox cluster, AI servers, SA365, a turnkey security appliance, and public and private cloud. Check out stonefly.com or email your project requirements to sales@stonefly.com.